Hi, I'm Bill Varenkamp from Imaging Spectrum, and I'm here to talk about the newest printer from DNP. This is the QW410, also known as the 410, or affectionately known as just the Cube. So it's kind of a neat little printer that just came out, about 13 pounds. So it's one of the lighter dye-sub printers that we've had out in quite a while. It holds 150 4x6s, so it's a little bit smaller than some of the other printers, but I think the 13 pounds and the small size, so if you have some sort of cabinet or any kind of enclosure or kiosk to put it in, I think that's going to help a lot. It does have a 4.5-inch wide print head, which is a little odd, but it does 4x6s, but it also has 4.5x8 media. So again, kind of a different size than what people are used to. Not only will it do those sizes, but it also will do square prints. So you could do 4x4s or 4.5x4.5 with the 4x8 media. It also, like the 40 and the 620 and the RX1HS, it will actually, you can actually turn on or enable the 2-inch cut. So it'll do 3 2x4s with the 4x6, and it'll do 2 by 4.5s with the 4.5x8 media. So it does give some sizes that you've never had before. I think I mentioned it prints in about 19 seconds, 150 4x6s, 110 4.5x8s. I'm going to show you how to load the paper and ribbon here. This does come with this paper tray, so it does, and it does fold up so you can move it around a little bit easier. Okay. And just dump out or remove the shard tray, and do make sure you dump the shards before you transport it, because those can get stuck in the cutter and break the cutter. And of course, you always want to remove your paper and ribbon for transport, because they're not designed to be transported that way. Now, this printer does need with the spool, it does need to have the spacer, and these are 1/4-inch spacers, just so it has enough space to make up the room for the 4-inch paper compared to the 4.5-inch wide paper. So we're going to put the spacers on. Now we're going to grab the paper. Okay, it doesn't matter which side you put it on, just make sure it's closed all the way. Okay, and by the way, this paper has been used, so the new rolls would go all the way out, but this is what we had available to us. Okay, we're going to load it forward just like you do other DNP printers. It is going to beep, and it does flash the light. That way, if you're in a loud area, like at a party or something, and you can't hear the beep, you can still watch it flash there. Okay, so it did beep, letting us know the paper's in all the way. I'm going to put the shard tray in. Okay, next for the ribbon. Okay, now the ribbon does have a yellow end, and that lets you know which side it needs to go into. Here on the left side is spring loaded, so we're going to push it in here, put the yellow side right over here, and then the take-up ribbon goes in the back again, spring loaded on the left. Snap it in, take up any tension, or put tension on it, and then we're going to close the lid, and then it'll be ready to do the alignment sheets. That's all it takes to load the ribbon and paper. Put the tray back on here, and it is going to do the alignment sheets. Alignment sheets are necessary because they make sure that the paper is fitting into the spool correctly, and also any fingerprints that I may have put on there will be gone now. And there's always more paper than there is ribbon, and that's because since you are supposed to load paper and ribbon every time you transport it, so again, you've got plenty of paper. So all right, we are all set to go here. The printer went to ready with just the green power light. So now we're going to send photos to the printer. Do the three 2x4s first, because I already have that ready to go here. So I'm going to show you how you would set that. Just go into the driver properties, go into preferences, go into advanced, and just like you would on the other DNP printers, you enable the cut. So that is enabled. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to click OK. I'm going to go to this photo where we have 3 2x4s already ready to go. And I'm just going to get in here and go to print. And it was already set to cut. So I'm going to print this, and it's going to cut it as it comes out. This does print in about 19 seconds. The paper does have a little bit of a curl to it. It's a little bit thinner than some dye sublimation printers. There is an anti-curl roller in here that will help flatten it out, and it'll naturally flatten itself out anyway. But it does add about 3 seconds of time to the printing. So if you do want to use that anti-curl, just know that it will add a little bit of time. So it's finishing up here, and like I said, it's going to cut those 3 2x4s automatically. And again, just a really cool size. I think this is going to be a neat size for quinceaneras, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, you know, any kind of party where they want to have a bunch of copies for friends to be able to pass out and share and enjoy and everything. So I think that's going to be really neat. And like I also mentioned, it can do square photos, so it'll do 4x4s with a 4x6 or 4.5x4.5 with a 4x8. It can also do the cut with the 4.5x8. So I think I mentioned that earlier too. All right, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to turn off the cut. Give me just a second here. That way we don't cut up our Santa photo here. So I'm just going to disable the 2-inch cut. And I'm going to go to my Santa Claus photo here. Me and Santa from last month. So I'm going to come in here and set it to 4x6. And we're going to click print. A couple of things other about this printer. It does come with Mac drivers and Windows drivers. It will have a wireless device to be able to use with Mac OS and the iOS. Anyway, so there's our 4x6 with me and Santa. So again, those are 4x6, 4.5x8. Have the perforated out soon. Does the 2-inch cut. So it does bring some new things to the table that a lot of printers cannot. Just to let you know, this printer uses 35% less power than other current DNP printers. This thing, you can run it off some heavy-duty batteries, about $250 to $500 for these battery packs. And this thing can run 2 to 3 hours on it. So just kind of a neat option if you're using, say, an iPad booth and you're running off the battery of the iPad, you can run the battery on this printer too and not have to have any power. Great for outdoor locations or things where it's going to be tricky and difficult to run AC power. I've talked about the perforated media, I've talked about the power, it's got the tray coming up, other papers coming out soon with the perforated and the 4.5x8. It does have the wireless coming out also, so you can print from iOS and from Mac OS. And that's about all I have to say about the new 410. Again, lightweight, small, compact, some new sizes, a little bit slower, holds a little bit less media, but the size is pretty special. So anyway, that's all I have to say about the Cube.